Trustee Geezer.
Here.
Trustee Fruzzoloni.
Here.
Trustee McCarthy.
Here.
Mayor Savarino.
Here. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There a motion to approve the minutes of our May 15th, 2023 Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Berger. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Fruzzoloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Well, we have a guest in the audience tonight, and I'm going to do this under the listening post, and you're going to be the first one up. Our state representative, Jennifer Santalatoro. Yeah, that's okay. Take the mic, make sure it's turned on. Thank you for coming in. You're going to bring us a quick brief about what's going on in Springfield.
Yeah, just,
Could you do that in under 3 hours?
yes. Well, I think, maybe. Hello, thank you, everyone, for having me here today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jennifer Santalitra. I'm a state representative for the 48th District, which encompasses part of Addison, Bloomingdale, Bensonville, Carroll Stream, Hanover Park, Bensonville, Elk Grove, Wooddale, Itasca. I'm just getting back, I just finished my freshman year as a state legislator, and boy, it's crazy down there, but I enjoyed myself. It was a true honor. I learned the whole passing of a bill and how all that works and how you actually get that accomplished, so that was great. I did want to come here today to talk to you guys about a couple of things that I accomplished and a couple of things that went on, like, during the session. First, I had put many bills up into, that I filed, but they did not get pulled out of rules, but I did actually get a couple of them pulled, and my first bill was House Bill 2094. It was a mortgage marketing bill that stops deceptive mailers from going to the most vulnerable, like our senior citizens, and to new home buyers' house, and that passed unanimously in the House. So I was very excited about that. I also passed House Bill 3202. That one is a saliva cancer screening test. So I believe that will help save lives. You can get that test covered by your insurance. It's not going to cost you anything, and you can get that done every 24 months. So you get to do a home screening test, and I believe early detection is going to be the best protection to save lives. So I did get that passed. Something else that I worked really hard on, and I know that this was huge to our community and all of the districts and everybody in the state of Illinois, was the LGDF. I know that the local government distributive fund didn't quite get to where we wanted it. It did get a small increase, which was, I believe it was at 6.19, and it went to 6.43%, which is nothing compared to what most of these towns needed, but we are gonna still, I did sponsor all the bills that were up. I actually wrote a bill too, but it didn't get pulled, but we did try very hard for that. I will still work diligently to try to get that through. I know that another representative, Anthony DeLuca, he said that if it didn't pass, he wouldn't sign for the budget, but I think they made some other arrangements with some other things, but that was something that I know was important to this community, correct, right? I know, Frank, you talked about it, and I know that Mayor Rod Craig had talked about that several times. One thing I wanted to talk to you about was also the budget. The budget did pass. It was a $50 billion budget, and years past, like I think 5 years ago, it was at $40 billion, so it did increase significantly. There was a few things, unfortunately, I felt that I couldn't vote for it based on most of the things that my constituents were emailing in about. They did cut the Invest in Kids program, which was pretty important to us. They also didn't have any tax reform, which was the number one thing that I did get calls about. I got over 3,000 emails and calls about tax reform and ethics reform, and there was none of that in the budget. There was also self-serving pay raises that were passed for elected officials within the budget, so I just couldn't, ethically, I couldn't vote for the budget. I just want you to know that I'm going to continue to work for you. I know that I did reach out to the DCEO to talk about some appropriations for each one of my towns. He did get back to me about Wayne Township, and I know that you guys had $100,000 in February. He said that there's another 100,000 and another 75,000. 100,000 was split between Democrat and Republican, so I am working on that. He did send me over file numbers, but I was talking to Randy today, and he said that for some reason, he feels like it's missing a piece, and once I had already left, he hasn't called me back yet today. So I didn't know if there was any concerns that you guys have, or if there's anything that I could take to them to talk to them about, but I just wanted you to know that I appreciate the honor. I am working hard. I'm here for the people. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. I work for the constituents of my district, and I wanted to open that up for any questions that you guys may have.
Well, I'm going to dwell on this LGDF until I die. I mean, when you look at LGDF, people today do not understand, a lot of our constituents that live in Carroll Stream, or maybe that live in the state of Illinois, don't really understand why we're fighting so hard to get our money back. And I don't remember exactly when. We used to collect our own sales tax. The state decided to take the sales tax and collect it at 10%.
Yes.
They paid us back the 10%. Well, then they decided to keep 4% of our 10%. That's like stealing, as far as I'm concerned. That's our money. That belongs to the people that live in this community. Not our money, the community's money. I think the LGDF, in my opinion, is the one thing out
That
of
everybody
all-
can get
all
behind.
the bills that were put through affects every person in the state of Illinois, not special interests, not people with kids in school, not people that want something special for whatever. That affects everybody because it's given back based on a per capita by the head. That's how much we would get for each person. And it
Well-
just isn't fair. That would be like going to the bank and I put $1,000 in the bank. And then I want to take my 1,000 out, and they go, well, I gave Mary 500 and Matt 500, so there's no money left there. Wait a second, you borrowed them the money, where's the money going? That's
Well,
our money. That was why we fought so hard. You know how many times we talked?
I mean-
called Democrats, Republicans, all over the state, I have friends on both sides of the aisle, everybody was 100% for it. I'm happy we got something, but when you look at what we got, it's about $300,000
It's
a year.
about for each.
And we figure right now they owe us about 26 million of what that 4% would be.
And I believe that they had the votes for the bill. They had the votes because I know that the chief sponsor of that bill was very committed, and we talked about it all the time. All of us talked about it all the time. We knew it was detriment to, roads and keeping our towns clean, but I think that they just felt that the funds that they used, there was also funding that was used for undocumented immigrants. They got $550 million, which it's gonna cost about $1.9 billion for the state. And that's $550 million is only for 6 months of this year. The other 550, what about next year? So I think the funds are being misappropriated, and I mean, all we can do is just keep talking about it, and I think that a lot of people don't understand how that all works. And I think that J.B. Pritzker, he is the one that isn't really approving it, because I believe that there was a lot of people, a lot of representatives and senators that were for it. They had the votes for it, it just didn't make it in there. Even as loudly as we talked about
I didn't
it
get
every day.
one negative comment from either sides of the aisle that I called and talked to them. They were all 100% with DeLuca's bill. I would have
why I
been
said we had the
tickled to
votes.
death if they would have come up with a metrics of, okay, we go up 1%, 1%, 1% each year. till
Well,
we
the
get our
bill
money.
was, the
Till we
bill
get our
was
money back.
8% by, for 2023, no, 7%, 8%, and then in 2024, it was supposed to go to 8.5%, and then by 2025, it was up to the 10%, but it didn't pass. And there was a few different LGDF bills that were written in case one got pushed back. They were like, oh, well, he may not like that idea, we'll try this idea. And all three LGDF bills did not get pulled out of Rules Committee.
If there is another bill that affected every person that lives in this state, I don't know what that bill is, because every bill has got special interest groups that want things pushed through. That bill affected every town and every community because it's paid back by per capita. And that's a sad situation that we lost that money. We'll never get that money back. And towns around us that need the money as bad as we do, imagine Hanover Park was like 24 million, we're 26 million. I'd hate to think what Naperville's got to be 130 or 140 million, based on 147,000 people. I mean, that's just an enormous amount of money.
It's enormous.
To just take and then just give it away to everybody else when it's our money. That's what, it bothers me. I look at this village and the people that live here, and all of us do, as this is our family, okay? That money belongs here, not to go anyplace else, and it belongs in each town, should have got that money. There's a lot of things that we could do if we only got our money. I'm not looking for anything special. I said to every legislator I talked to, try and get us 1%, but even mayors and managers, give us 1%, 1%, 1%. And forget the 26 million, we'll never get that money because they'd have to go in billions of dollars for the whole state. I don't know what the number would be. I have no idea. I don't think I could add that high. I'd have to have our finance guy do that. I mean, when you look at how many people are here, it just isn't fair.
And Mr. Mayor, isn't it true that that money was negotiated, that percentage was negotiated years ago
Yes.
as part of the Constitution, and
They were
It is
nice enough to
unconstitutional that
collect
they're not
money.
appropriating the money.
That's what scares all of us about when we hear Springfield wants to do, oh, wait a second. They did us a favor and collected the money to make it easier for us and then decided to keep a big piece of it. Just not right. It doesn't work that way. I mean, and I know you've done everything you could. I'm not saying that, thank you. I could thank five Democrats that I called, 5 Republicans that I called friends of mine. I said, we need this. I know you all voted for it, and I appreciate that. It just isn't what we were looking for. And some of these other things that passed that we're doing, some of them make absolutely no sense at all.
No sense.
I mean, you can tell they're special interest groups that were able to get to either somebody somehow, how they get things pushed through and get all that money when that money actually belongs to people. We're not a rich community. Neither is Hanover Park a rich community, or West Chicago. We're not in this alone, or Warrenville, or Wheaton even. I mean, the poverty level has struck all of us.
Yeah.
Not to get the money that belongs to us.
I feel like they think of our community as a upper class, the way that they explain it. Or some legislators explain it to me like, well, your neighborhood, you don't have as many unemployed or people on Section 8 or, people that are well-to-do in our area, so I think they not. But I'm like, but the LGDF affects the whole state. So I just I don't get why it wasn't pushed for more in the caucus meetings. And so this, that our side of the aisle didn't get to sit at the table not one time. We didn't even get called to talk about the budget, so we didn't have any say-so in where those funds got appropriated, which is completely wrong because everybody says, let's work together, let's be a bipartisan group. I worked with them. I'm a freshman and I was able to get things passed because I worked with I worked with everyone across the aisle. Some of them are great friends of mine now. I I like everyone. And I was able to do that based on what I decided and what I said I would run on, and I kept true to that. So, I will continue to do whatever you need me to do. I just need to know what you guys need from me so that I can move forward with some other organizations or who I should reach out to help you get some things fixed around here, like you need roads, or if it's not the DCEO, who would you like me to contact so I can help get some things funded, or maybe, pull something from someone else that doesn't necessarily need it, so.
I appreciate all that you're doing, and thank you for coming in. I have an open door policy to all of our legislators. I
good.
already asked Laylock if she is in the area and wants to come in. She doesn't need an appointment. She can come in on a board meeting, and I'll be glad to let her take the podium. And she's a Democrat out of Villa Park.
She's
and
awesome.
She, always open.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for coming in.
Thank you, everybody. You don't have anything you want to?
Also, thank you for the passing the legislation for drones for law enforcement.
Oh, I did.
Yes.
I did.
That was very
vote
nice.
For that, yes.
We can now use drones to monitor large assemblies and parades and things like that.
Yeah, yesterday I went to the Rose Parade, and my daughter was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to be here. I'm kind of scared. I was like, don't worry, honey, we just passed a drone bill, so drones will be over the parade. They're like, she's like, are they here today? And I said, they're not here today, not yet. That's not
We have
went
to
through
gear
yet.
up for it. Yeah.
Yes, you got to get prepared.
Yep.
But yes, I always
you.
support local law enforcement, any law enforcement, so thank you.
Well, if there's any grants available for our continuing stormwater rebuild, we could always use for that, because we've got a long way to go on that yet.
She's writing it down, see? That's it.
Right, engineering?
Yes, of course.
Jennifer, thank you very
Jennifer,
much.
thank you.
And you know,
Thank you for coming in.
anything you need from me, I'm
Absolutely, you're always
100%
great,
with you.
all you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, under listening post, resolution number 3310, recognizing Mike, do we have anything off the internet?
We do. We have two electronic comments. But did you want to do the resolution first?
Oh, okay. I know they're exciting, so. Resolution number 3310, recognizing Mike Terina, for 30 years of employment with the Village of Carroll Stream, and our newest addition, Joe Anselmo.
First one.
Read that.
Tiarina?
Really?
A resolution recognizing Mike Tiarina on 30 years of employment with the Village of Carroll Stream. Whereas Mike Tiarina was hired as a water and sewer employee 3 in the Public Works Department on June 1st, 1993. And whereas Mike Tiarina was promoted to the position of water and sewer employee 2 in the Public Works Department on June 1st, 2008. And whereas Mike has worked to operate, maintain, and repair the water transmission system and the sewer collection system to preserve its reliability and uphold public health throughout his career. And whereas Mike has demonstrated great skill and ability in a wide variety of tasks and assignments during his 30 years of service in the department. And whereas Mike has received multiple letters of appreciation from residents, businesses, and supervisors for his professional and friendly service and for his response to severe weather and emergency repairs. And whereas Carroll Stream is a better community as a result of the professionalism, competency, talent, and dedication Mike brings to his work daily. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Carroll Stream on behalf of all the former and present elected and appointed officials and residents of Carroll Stream that Section 1, Mike Tiarina is hereby recognized and commended for 30 years of dedication and service to the Village of Carroll Stream. Section 2, Mike Tiarina is wished the very best of happiness and health in his continued employment with the Village of Carroll Stream. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage as approved by law, passed and approved this 5th day of June 2023.
You can make the motion
Make the motion.
to approve it.
I motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Moved by Joe Anselmo, seconded by trustee McCarthy. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
The next thing on our agenda is proclamation proclaiming June 2020 2023 as Pride Month, and Trustee Geezer had asked if he could read that.
Thank you very much. This is a proclamation proclaiming Pride Month. Whereas our nation was founded by a set of principles that every person has been created equal, that each has rights to their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and that each shall be accorded the full recognition and protection of law. And whereas the Village of Carroll Stream, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex and asexual LGBTQIA residents are a vital part of all fields and professions and contribute to a stronger community. And whereas Carroll Stream is dedicated to fostering acceptance of all its residents and citizens and preventing discrimination and bullying based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And whereas Carroll Stream is strengthened by and thrives upon the rich diversity of ethnic, cultural, racial, gender, and sexual identities of its residents, all of which contribute to the vibrant character of our village. And whereas the month of June is traditionally recognized as Pride Month to commemorate the Stonewall riots of June of 1969, and whereas the Center for Disease Control, CDC, recognizes that LGBTQIA teens are at higher risk to be the victims of violence and have increased suicide rates, and whereas it is imperative that people in our community, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, feel valued, safe, empowered, and supported by their peers, educators, and community leaders. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Mayor Frank Severino and the Carroll Stream Village Board of Trustees, DuPage County, Illinois, in the exercise of its home rule powers, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2023 as Pride Month in Carroll Stream, and welcome our residents to join us at our June 22nd Pride Concert to recognize the contributions made by members of the LGBTQI community and to actively promote the principles of equality and liberty in the village. Proclaimed this 5th day of June, 2023.
Thank you, Trustee Geezer. Mr. Rhodes, did you check in the back to see if there's any? There is nothing? So we can go right into the addresses from the internet.
Sure. The first electronic comment is from Suzanne Moravik. Hello, my name is Suzanne, and I am a district manager for Aldi Grocery Stores. As a well-esteemed business and beloved entity in the community, I would like to raise concerns regarding the homeless and beggar problem along Schmale Road. I think I speak for many local businesses when I say that the homeless problem has gotten wildly out of control this spring. We are forced to make daily phone calls to the police to have homeless removed from our property. Our customers are upset and our employees are regularly threatened, as many of these beggars are becoming violent and belligerent. Not only is it damaging to business and dangerous, but it is time-consuming, costly, and brand tarnishing for us to have these people arrested and to constantly testify in court. It is also not a permanent solution, as many officials have informed us that after their arrest, most beggars will simply return to the same streets. We are looking to our village leaders to do something about the problem and to restore a sense of peace to the businesses along Schmale Road. End the homeless problem and free up our officers to assist with much more critical matters in the community. For additional details and concerns, please call me. If I miss your call, I will return voicemails. Thank you for your time. And then the second electronic comment was from Wayne Barron. As a lifelong resident of Carroll Stream, 30-plus years, I am appalled by the village recognizing and supporting Pride activities. The purpose of government at all levels is to provide for the orderly functioning of society. That means the government is responsible to provide services for the majority of people in the community. Not being a political scientist, I would venture to say the majority of the residents of Carroll Stream are opposed to this support for a small minority of the residents. This is an insult to most residents, including myself, and a misuse of public funds. Maybe Carroll Stream board members should take notice of what is happening to Bud Light, Kohl's, and Target. I will remind my fellow residents of this position the board has taken at election time. That concludes the electronic comments.
Thank you. Is there a motion to establish a consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, can I provide an update to the village board on a listening post item that was brought up at the last meeting?
Okay.
One of the residents that was at the May 15th board meeting, Jen Pauling, is in the audience, and she approached the board at our last meeting regarding a sanitary sewer line blockage that she had in her service line. That service line is treated by the village as a private service line that extends from the homeowner's residence to the village's public sewer main. There was some indication to staff that we look into alternatives where we can provide some consideration or some reimbursement for repairs that are done under the village right-of-way, specifically underneath the road. Her blockage and offset to the sewer line is supposedly underneath the roadway. So she's agreed to provide the village with some video of the breakage so we can see what exactly it was. But there's also been some research on what other communities do, as well as some legal research by the village attorney on utilizing public funds for private purposes. And it's been determined that generally, if there's no underlying public benefit to using public funds for private purposes, that it can't be done. I don't know if you want to expand on that, Jim.
Thank you. The Illinois Constitution specifically provides that public funds can only be provided for specific public purposes, and the Illinois Supreme Court has looked at this issue a number of times and has indicated that the object of the expenditure has to have a public benefit, a specific public benefit to the community. And they've laid out some guidelines with respect to that, and the guidelines generally go along with whether or not the purpose in mind is a purpose where the courts would recognize that the object is proper use of government funds for some type of public benefit. So when we take a look at this particular type of issue where the sewer lines are in fact private, and I spoke to Phil Modaf before he left regarding this, there does not appear to be a specific public benefit in this instance for repairing a private sewer line. The Supreme Court has indicated where public funds are spent for a principally private purpose, the expenditure is unconstitutional. And there's also a provision within the municipal code that provides that the corporate authorities control the finances, and the corporate authorities can appropriate funds only for the payment and expenses of the corporation for corporate purposes, not for private purposes. And the corporate authorities, being this board, has a fiduciary duty to its residents to ensure that it's spending its money properly. So there is an issue in terms of the expenditure of these funds and how they are spent and whether or not there's a specific corporate purpose behind the expenditure. Now, there are some communities who have some types of programs where they provide funds to private individuals for some types of repairs. For example, the city of Wheaton has a program where if an individual was to entirely replace their private sewer lines, that is a benefit to the village because the village, or I'm sorry, the city in Wheaton's situation has an infiltration problem, and they have a cross-connection problem. And so the expenditure of funds to lower the infiltration, eliminate cross-connections is in fact a public benefit, and by doing that, they are reducing that because all communities are under IEPA and EPA guidelines where they are required to reduce infiltration and reduce cross-connections. The village doesn't have those problems. It doesn't have cross-connection problems. It doesn't have infiltration problems. So we don't have that situation where we can tie it to some type of public purpose. I did discuss with Bob whether or not we could take a look at some other, whether or not there's any other private, public purposes that might be aligned. And we're looking at that, but to date, I haven't found anything. One of the questions came up with respect to what about the village roads and the proper maintenance of the village roads and the proper repair of village roads. And the fact of the matter is that there are people who do work in the village right-of-way all the time. We have a right-of-way ordinance very specifically for that purpose. And so you have telecommunications companies that are laying wires and that are coming in and they're cutting up the pavement to put those wires in. You have different types of businesses that are doing that as well. And so, you have a substantial number of individuals who are doing that type of work. And in fact, the village has a program, as does probably 98% of the municipalities in the state of Illinois, have adopted right-of-way control ordinances to make sure that the roads are repaired properly. So this isn't a situation where the village needs to do the work itself in order to make sure that the work is done properly. There are, in fact, ordinances in effect to make sure that when the work is done and passes with respect to the engineering standards that have been developed for the roadways. So that's where we're at the present time.
Are we able to comment on that, or we're not able to?
Sure, you can if you.
Okay, Trustee Berger?
If a sewer line coming from a home to the main sewer line under the street is damaged and leaking sewage, that seems to be a detriment to the roadway and to the village.
Not according to,
Over time.
not according to Phil. We specifically talked about that situation. The fact of the matter is, the fact that they're offset and there may in fact be some leakage does not damage the village's sanitary sewer system, and it doesn't have any issues with respect to any issues, because the leaking in this situation would not be significant.
That's why we need to look at the video and some of the pictures from the resident to see what that looks like. We'll get a better idea after we see that.
I mean, these lines are
Not yet.
private lines.
Do what?
The lines that are affected are private lines. They're not part of the village's
Well,
system.
if the pipe is broken in the middle of the street and it doesn't just plug there, it has to be leaking under the street too, right? Or just don't go anyplace, it just stops right there.
It could be leaking under the street, but, the question becomes, what's the leakage? And even if it's a big break, it's a break in a private line.
But it's damaging, it's into
Right.
the groundwater or ground soil,
Yeah,
putting something you don't want there, which becomes then a public issue.
right.
Generally, the breaks are such that you don't have a lot of flow, especially from a residential user, and it'll generally back up into the home before it leaks into the soil. I mean, you'll get some leakage, but we understand that the board wants to do something on this, so we're going to continue to look at it and see what other towns do. DuPage County and Bloomingdale, I believe, have taken ownership of those lines, and that's why they have programs that pay for that. But they did that many years ago. When we take ownership of the utilities, the public utilities, we have a bill of sale that specifically excludes private service lines. So, I mean, this goes way back to probably, when we were incorporated. We also have it in our village code, so it would be a number of areas that we would need to change if we're going to provide some consideration for these types of repairs.
If you were going to take over maintenance of all of the private facilities that were underneath the village's right-of-way, your cost would be astronomical.
If you, may I, Mr. Mayor? Okay.
Yes, go right ahead.
Could you just do residential or just do, or would it have to be?
I don't think that you could. I don't think that you could establish that there's a distinction. I think that if you're going to end up doing it, you would likely have to do it for all.
When you say the cost would be astronomical, is that the process of changing over to that, or are you talking about the frequency of sewer line breaks?
I'm talking about if you're going to take over the maintenance responsibility, then how many lines are you taking over?
Which means every single one that's plugged, if it's plugged past the private property, would then be our responsibility.
Correct.
Right, but
And
I
then,
thought
and then if it's your responsibility, there are liability issues that are created as well.
So, do we have any records in Public Works or in engineering to how many have failed that got permits to put them in?
Community Development actually keeps track of the permits because they're required to come in for a permit to repair their sewer lines. And it's generally been about one a year that goes into the public right-of-way.
One a year.
At least the ones that actually get a permit.
Yes, the ones that have come in for a permit, and as the village ages, you're going to start to see
If they're
more.
going under the street, they have to come in and get a permit.
Yes. Well, they have to
They're
come in
supposed
for a permit
they're
even if
supposed
it's on private property. It's sewer work, they need a plumber that's licensed.
But I would guess there's quite a few that have been done.
There may be some weekend
On
warriors,
weekends.
yeah.
Dug up the street on the weekend, you mean? Or just kind of like,
Nobody would do that.
oh my God.
So we're continuing to look at it, and
See if there's any options.
yes, we'll see if there's other options. And the board has provided some ideas too, so.
Well, I think we all feel like we're obligated to help the citizens. The question is where does the money come from? I mean, how many people have already paid to have that done?
Well, this would be going forward, it wouldn't be going
We
backward.
can't go back, but to go forward, I mean, if I thought that it was one a year, this wouldn't even be a conversation. We would do that and get it over with. I mean, but you know that that's not going to be the case. It's not going to be one a year.
If I can ask the resident, since the blockage was cleared, is your sewer line working now? Okay. Okay.
So it actually split under the street is,
Separated under the street, and it's past our right of way, so it's on the other neighbor's right of way, on the other side of Thunderbird. So.
Where the connection is.
trust me,
It seems to me that it should be for anybody who has this long sewer line that goes under the street, there should be some, I mean, and I would also think that the, however many 10,000 other residents that have this would say, well, this would help us if it's a whole year. We pay a lot of money, right? So it seems kind of obvious, but I appreciate all of you helping us out. Thank you.
I feel bad and the whole board feels bad and the staff feels bad. And the attorney goes by the law and the rules, so that's why he's here with us.
Part of it feels
He's an attorney. Attorneys don't feel bad.
I don't feel anything.
right now, so I can help.
We probably paid him what it would cost you to fix it.
Exactly.
Look it up.
No, he's very reasonable.
Well, thanks for, I mean,
Thanks for continuing to look.
Yes, yeah,
continue to,
And please keep them aware
We
of.
will, yep.
that's right.
And know that there's been so much conversation and staff time spent on this. Bob and I literally talk to each other almost every day on sewer lines. I know more about sewer lines than I've ever wanted to know.
I know everybody's town, all the towns, I know what they do, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we really thought that we were like moving in a direction, and then the state constitution like threw us all. And I was like, wait, Wait, there's towns doing this that are going against the state constitution? Potentially. Okay, so that's where, so Jen, we're working on it. Whatever we can do, we're gonna try and do. I mean, we don't know what we can do yet.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask Bob a question?
Sure.
When a situation like this, when they decide to move, if a person decides to move and this issue has not been corrected, is that checked on before they're giving a transfer?
I think there's a question on the real estate question here that asks about flooding and stuff like
That
that.
would be on the real estate, but not on you giving a transfer stamp?
No.
All right.
Are we done?
Yeah.
This is very personal to me, believe me. You have no idea. Okay. Is there a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Anselmo. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesers.
Aye.
Trustee Bruzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read what is on the consent
Certainly.
agenda?
Board and Commission reports. Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals. R&R Resources, Inc., Wayne Township, 27W031 West North Avenue, North Avenue Corridor Review, Building Addition. Approved with conditions 5-0, no village board action required. Staff reports and recommendations. Award of a contract to Superior Road Striping, Inc. at the bid unit prices total cost of $26,636.45 for the 2023 pavement marking project pursuant to the provisions of Section 5-8-14L of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes.
Award of contract, Fair Oaks Road Rehabilitation Project, Army Trail Road to Plum Grove Court, to Plody Construction, Inc., at the bid unit price of $527,611.53.
Yes.
Yes.
Waiver of bids and award of a contract for the 2023 Asphalt Rejuvenator Project to American Road Maintenance at the unit price submitted for a cost not to exceed $347,049.30 pursuant to the provisions of Section 5-8-3B and Section 5-8-14C of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes.
Morton Road Reconstruction Project, North Avenue to St. Charles Road. Approval of change order 1 in the amount of $36,834.40 and request for approval of change of plans, BLR 13210, bringing the revised contract amount to $602,764.90.
Yes.
Yes.
Pine Creek Stream Bank Stabilization, Section 1. Approval of change order 01 in the amount of $48,710 and a time extension of 31 calendar days for the storm sewer outfall for WRC improvements.
Yes.
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 Award of contract, Public Works Center Phase 2 Improvement Project to Bowler Construction at the base bid presented, including alternate 2, for an amount not to exceed $3,859,500.
Yes.
Approval of an amendment to an agreement for architectural services with Kluber, Inc. for construction oversight services for the Public Works Facilities Phase 2 Improvements Project up to the amount of $46,670.
Yes.
Resolutions. Resolution declaring surplus property owned by the Village of Carroll Stream, Squad 670, 2017 Dodge Durango, to be sold by the Police Department.
Yes.
That is resolution number 3311. New business, raffle license, My Child's Life Matters, Inc., approval and waiver of the fee and manager's fidelity bond for the Ride for John event at the Ross Ferraro Town Center on July 29th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Amplification permit, My Child's Life Matters, Inc., approval and waiver of the fee for the Ride for John event at the Ross Ferraro Town Center on July 29th, 2023, from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes.
Yes.
Receipt of the Carroll Stream Public Library Annual Report for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2023.
Received.
Payment of bills. Regular bills, May 16th, 2023 through June 5th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes. Addendum warrants, May 16th, 2023 through June 5th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
That concludes the items on the consent agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion to put those items on the consent agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by trustee Frusaloni, seconded by trustee Zalik. Clerk call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalik.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
The motion to approve those items by unanimous vote.
So moved?
Second?
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Frusaloni. Clerk call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalik.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
And the report of officers, trustee Anselmo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Try to keep this short. I do hope everyone had a nice Memorial Day weekend, since we haven't seen you in a few weeks. I do want to send a thank you to the VFW and the Carroll Stream Park District for putting together a beautiful and moving ceremony at Town Center. Congratulations on Mike Tiarina on your 30 years of service with Public Works. Our first concert in the park is coming up next Thursday at Town Center. I'll let Brianna tell everybody that, but that kicks off our concert season. The band is Spoken For. And then we have Geek Fest. Coral Cove Water Park opened Memorial Day weekend as well. Stop by and get a season pass there. The Carroll Stream Parks Foundation is having their annual duck race on Saturday the 24th at 7 p.m. You can go to the Park District website and adopt a duck for more information. I do want to send my congratulations to all the graduates that have just gotten out of school. And with the warmer weather and schools being out for summer break, I'd like to ask the community to please remind, to be a little more conscious of your speed driving through the neighborhoods. There's kids riding bikes, and there's dog walkers, and I just know from my street, there's people getting by a little quickly. So if everybody could just be a little more conscious of speeding, that would be really appreciated. And that concludes my report.
That was an excellent report. Well, trustee Berger.
Nothing to say.
If the band is spoken for, how did we get them? Oh, sorry.
That concludes your report, right?
That concludes my, my membership of this board. Yeah, Memorial Day, when I pulled up at Town Center, I was really surprised at all the cars that were there, and I thought, God, what else is going on? I mean, the turnout was great, and like trustee Anselmo said, they did a great job putting that on. It was great to see the turnout there. And also with the summer concert series, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at every single concert, and I mean that for all 40,000 people, and I'm ignoring the fact that I'll be on vacation and we'll miss at least one of them. And then in regards to the message that was read at the beginning of the meeting, Mr. Meller, how much tax money have we spent on Pride Month?
Zero tax money, that's all paid for by donations.
And how is the Pride Month concert being paid for?
I believe the village trustees donated some monies towards that and other donations, and the mayor and
The entire
clerk.
board did.
Yep.
With that, I would like to wish everybody a happy Pride Month, and that concludes my report.
Well said.
Happy right.
Trustee Zalik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, the niceties. Congratulations, Mike, on your 30 years. Hope you stay a few more. I know it's always greener on the other side, and it is, but I hope you stay a few more years. So we appreciate you. Second of all, I think I have to address and touch base kind of what you said, that, I'm voted here as a trustee not just to represent the minority or the majority. I don't give a rat's blank if you're black, brown, white, pink, purple, blue, yellow, red, green. As the Pledge of Allegiance says, liberty and justice for all. So if you don't like it, feel free to vote me out. Okay? Now, another nicety is after Geek Fest on June 17th, my friends who own Sunny Acres have a rodeo, and I'm actually working it, and not the clown and the barrels.
Well, I ain't going then.
No, but I'll be working the lemonade stand, So feel free to come. Tickets are only on sale on the internet. It's the weekend of the 17th and 18th. It's for all ages. There'll be petting zoos, live entertainment, and bowls, which is kind of cool. But, and cowboys. So, after the Geek Fest, feel free to go to Sunny Acres, because they have helped me with leftover food donations to go to, our local food pantries. So, I want to let them know that I'm out supporting them. So, after Geek Fest, if you want to see some cowboys and some bulls and stuff, feel free to go to Sunny Acres, after purchasing online. And then finally, keep our military and first responders in your thoughts and prayers, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee Zalik. Straight and to the point.
That's me.
Trustee Geezer.
Thank you. I'll start off by congratulating Mike Tiarino for his 13 years in Public Works. It's always tremendous when we honor people on these milestones, and continued success in your career at the Village of Carroll Stream. I'm happy Trustee Berger and Trustee Zalik have stepped up to say some things about the Pride Proclamation. 5 years ago, we've done this 5 years now. 5 years. Just seems like something we should have been doing for years and years. I am thrilled, happy, and proud to read that Pride Proclamation tonight and each year. And when I initially brought it up to the board members and the staff, everyone was like, right on, this is something, yes. And it was, back a little history is that people within the community suggested this. This was something that was generated within the community. And so as long as I'm up here, and it sounds like as long as the folks that are up here right now, we're going to continue to make sure people know that they are welcomed, they are accepted, and they are loved within our community. So I'm proud, and I'm proud of this board for continuing to do this. And then finally, I just want to say that there's a couple events coming up. The parade is coming up on July 1st, and we'll have one more fundraiser before the parade, and that'll be at Deanie's Ice Cream on June 12th.
Awesome.
From 3 to 9. Awesome. Everyone go out, get themselves some ice cream. So hopefully everyone, a lot of people will come out and support that. And Trustee Frustaloni and I had an opportunity to attend an event at the library since our last meeting, and that was for the Andy Warhol Pop Art Display. If folks don't know, there is an Andy Warhol exhibit at College of DuPage, and they have enlisted communities and libraries to participate by kind of Warholizing residents, famous residents or residents within the community. And they selected 4 people in Carroll Stream or with Carroll Stream ties, Brittany Valine, Margaret LeBrew, Mike Toomey, and Dare Officer Pablo Castro. I was honored to present Mike Toomey. Chief Homer presented Pablo Castro. So it was just a very nice event, and if you have a chance to go by the library and see the pictures, they're in the front windows. And that's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Geezer. Trustee Frustaloni.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To just jump on to what everyone else is saying about Pride Month, I guess every resident is entitled to their opinion, and we do take what our residents say very seriously. As Trustee Zalik said, we're here for all of our residents. And the one thing that we all say is Carroll Stream's a great town. We're a wonderfully diverse town. And for this board to do anything other than to support every part of our town would be, I couldn't even imagine it. Going back a couple of years during COVID, a resident came to me and said, there's more we can do for Pride Month. What more can we do? Can we do a parade? And I'm going to be honest, my first statement was, no, one parade a year, if you knew what it took to put on a parade, is more than what we have resources to be able to do. And this is something we would want to do the correct way. So I came up with the idea of, can we do a concert? And I went to Bob, and I said, Bob, and the mayor was standing next to us, we were at a ribbon cutting. I said, what do you guys think about this? Great. Staff was on board. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to go that easily. And then I went to the trustees, I went to the village clerk, I went to the mayor and said, do you guys support this? And at the time, we had one trustee that said, no, I don't, but the rest of us did. So last year was our inaugural concert, and if you've never been to one of our concerts, that's the concert to go to. We had so many people that have never been to a concert, and the response that we got from people is, well, if I had known you'd had concerts like this and that they were so welcoming and so amazing, I would have come years ago. We had anywhere from little kids to teenagers to older residents that have never come to one of our concerts, and then we started seeing those same people start coming to our other concerts, because it's a family environment, it's a town environment, it's the winter is over, and don't say the word snow. Now it is time for us to get together and see our neighbors that we haven't seen while we were hibernating, because Trustee Berger kept using the word snow. So the concerts are amazing. And this year, again, we are so blessed that, again, I went to the board and it was a quick text message, are you guys in? And everybody said, yep, what do we need? What do you need? Every single board member, our village clerk, the mayor, every one of our trustees sitting up here. So I can say with a great prideful conscience that we're not spending taxpayer money on this. This is the board saying we're going to put in our own money to sponsor this. And every one of us has put in money towards sponsoring it. And any little amount that wasn't covered by the board's contributions, the businesses sponsored. So we're not taking money out of our general fund for this. But I will tell you, it's going to be one of the best attended, outside of our Concert for the Troops, it will be one of our best attended concerts. And I invite everyone, if you haven't been, please join us on June 22nd. It's going to be a great night. I've already ordered up good weather. So we will be out there and we will be celebrating everyone in Carol Stream. So please join us. I want to also remind everyone, just as Trustee Anselmo did, that summer school is in session right now. So you're going to have kids not only out playing, by their houses, but you're also going to have kids walking home from school because bus services aren't running during the summer. So please be aware we have crosswalk laws, and they're not optional. It's been very heartbreaking to hear one town not too far away from here has had a couple of bicyclists that have been hit crossing a crosswalk because people aren't paying attention when they're going through the crosswalk. So please, if there's someone standing at the crosswalk waiting to cross, stop. That's the state law. And please let them cross. We don't want to have any kind of tragedy in our town, especially with kids who aren't aware of, their priority is, I just want to get home because I hate summer school, or I want a snack, or my friend's going to be online and I want to get on that video game. They're not thinking, oh, is that car going to stop? That's our responsibility. And we also have new drivers that are just getting their driver's licenses. And as much as I would love to say that the driver's education does a great job teaching our kids, they don't. That's really the responsibility of the parents to remind all of our young drivers that stop and everyone gets home safely. So I just want to welcome everyone to summer. It's finally here. So we went from winter to summer, and then we're going to go right back to winter. So like August, we're going to go right back to winter. Yes. And to
August, huh?
because we won't have a meeting before Father's Day, to all of the fathers on the board and in our staff, happy Father's Day early. And with that, I will end my report.
Thank you, Trustee Frizzalone. Well, Trustee McCarthy.
Well, just to keep my report short, I'm going to just go ahead and ditto everything everybody said on both the Pride concert and the Pride Month. Mike, congratulations, 30 years. As you've heard, we hope you stick around a little longer. Our long-term employees is a huge thing. I took a short little road trip this weekend, and the one thing I noticed is we really got to clean up the garbage outside, and it's not just here, but this is our little corner of the world. So still too many people who all of a sudden are throwing stuff out their car windows, throwing it in the parking lot when there's literally a garbage can 10 feet away. So if we can work on that, you know, if you see some garbage and there's a garbage can, use that. It makes everything look better. Makes you smile a little bit more when you're going around the village, when it's clean and looked up. You know, if it's your property, make sure your grass is cut, make sure, you know, your garage door closes all the way. And it's upkept a little bit. It's just a good thing. We as a board actually had the honor of getting to sit down with all of the staff last week, for the annual cookout. And to me, it's huge because we get to sit, like we all kind of skipped around and talked to, whether it was one of the summer help guys in Public Works, all the way to the chief, to anybody else who there was a seat open next to. And it's a thrill to just be able to sit and talk to the rest of our team. You know, you keep hearing us throw out the one team Carroll Stream. Well, staff is absolutely part of that. And it's great to just be able to sit and talk about nothing in particular, just BS and joke around. So I love that every year. So keep that going.
And there was some good pulled pork, too.
It was okay. Besides that, everybody have a great Father's Day, and enjoy the concerts that start up, not just the 22nd, but every single one we have. You know, you don't love the idea of that one? We got 5 more besides that, and it's always a good time. We're selling 50-50 raffles where all the proceeds will go back to the food pantries again, I believe. And that's always fun, and Culver's will be out with, you can get your dessert there, and we've got a number of restaurants. Oh, and Rotary will be there selling their beer and wine coolers, so you got a lot of easy opportunities, but you can also bring your dinner with you. You know, you don't have to buy something. If you want to bring a sack lunch, a ton of families do it, and the kids have a good time, and that's the only thing I'll say. Adults, and this is more of a message shared outside of the village than inside. Remember, this is a family thing. We like that the kids are up dancing and jumping around and having a good time. We're not going to discourage it. So make sure you got a good spot, but that front section is usually going to be filled with kids, and we are over the moon about it. So asking us to have them tamed down, we probably won't do it. But it's a great, it's a great summer, a great way to spend a few hours every Thursday night. So I hope to see everybody out there. And that, sir, is the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. Brianna, Assistant Village Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As most of the board has mentioned, event season is underway. Big surprise there. Our first concert is next Thursday, June 15th at the Town Center with the group Spoken For. And for food, we will have Culver's and Rocco Vinos available for purchase, and the Rotary Club will be selling alcohol as well. Just a friendly reminder that we will not allow outside alcohol, so just keep that in mind. The show starts at 7 p.m., so we hope to see you there. And following next week's concert, we have our Pride Month concert, which is June 22nd with Hello Weekend. And following that, we have our Independence Day celebration. So in the morning, we'll have the parade, and that evening, we'll have the Hillbilly Rock Stars show and several food trucks as well, and the fireworks show, of course. And concerts will continue through July 27th, so I'll be sure to keep everyone updated with the latest activities and events. And I'd like to thank our sponsors once again for helping out and making these events possible to our community. It really does mean a lot to be able to put these on without the use of taxpayer funding. Also next week, we have our Geek Fest and Taste of Carroll Stream on Saturday, June 17th. That will be from 11:30 to 4 p.m. again at the Town Center. This is a family-friendly activity, and there will be something for everyone. So we'll have a DJ playing music, inflatables, arcade games, board games, craft activities, vendors. We'll also have a costume contest that starts at 3 p.m. that day. So if you'd like to dress up, we definitely encourage it. We'll also have 10 different food vendors. And we're very happy to say that 9 of the 10 are Carroll Stream local businesses, so we love supporting our community, and we'll also have the Savory Crust food truck as well, and the Rotary Club will be selling alcohol again. And I would just like to thank our partners for this event, along with the village sponsoring this event. It's made possible with the help from Geek Inc. Comics, the Carroll Stream Chamber, and the Carroll Stream Public Library. So we look forward to see everyone there and all the events throughout the summer. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll just ditto a couple of things other people have said. I do want to congratulate Mike Tiarina on his 30 years of Public Works service, and I hope he has another 30 years with Public Works. And also, as Trustee Anselmo said, I'd like to thank the VFW Post 10396 in the Park District for putting on an absolutely beautiful Memorial Day service this year. And it was so well attended, and I also want to thank staff for making sure that the fountain was up and running, like that morning it was up and running. It was just a really nice way to greet people for the Memorial Day service. So thanks for getting that hard work done. I know it was a tight timeline for the fountain. And also wanted to thank our Carroll Stream Pond Squad who helped to clean up town center basins. A lot of us here were, a lot of everybody on the board was helping out. We had a total of 21 volunteers who cleaned 4 ponds and collected about 10 big bags of garbage. It was a beautiful day, a lot of fun. We're gonna do it every year, so if anyone wants to join, we'll be doing about the same time next year. And the cleanup was just in time for the summer concert series. So as Trustee McCarthy was saying, there's a lot of litter out there, pick up, so it felt good to pick up a bunch of that garbage. And another group activity coming up soon, I know there's a lot going on in June. June 24th, there's also a shopping cart shuffle 5K, and this is a fun run, walk, family 5K in support of neighborhood food pantries. So Greg and I have a team. We are called the Slow and the Curious because we don't expect to be fast. So if anybody likes to walk, jog, run, it's going to be at the Mallard Lake Forest Preserve, which is a beautiful forest preserve in Hanover Park, and it's that morning of June 24th. And if you are interested, let me know. I can help you register to get on our team. It's a $40 registration fee, and it goes right toward neighborhood food pantries to help to feed our neighbors in need. So hope you can join us that day. And finally, I just wanted to mention that I am so very proud to be part of this community that focuses on inclusivity and diversity. I'm very proud to have the Pride Proclamation, and I'm very excited for the 2nd annual Pride Concert coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm just proud to be here and be a part of all that. And then finally, I'd just like to say, shop and dine Carroll Stream. That's all I have.
Thank you. Very good report. Mr. Rhodes, our village attorney.
I don't have anything this evening, Mr. Mayor.
We still love you.
I'm not. I mean, I think everybody on this board recognizes that my job is to keep all of you guys and ladies out of trouble.
It is.
And you can always take my advice or not take my advice, as long as I've given you the right advice.
But can we call you for bail money if we can?
Right.
Mr. Muller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one item. Everything else was already mentioned. At our staff meeting this afternoon, our interim Public Works Director, Brad Fink, informed me that in the coming weeks, a village contractor will be sandblasting and repainting 500 village fire hydrants as part of our multi-year repainting effort. We have about 2,200 of those public fire hydrants in the village, so it'll take about 4.5, 5 years to do all of them.
That's it?
That's all I have.
That's your whole report?
That's it.
Yeah. Brianna, did you ever feel like they're all stealing your thunder when they talk about all these events that we're doing, and you're the one setting them all off? That's okay. That's where the one team comes in, right there.
I did it on purpose.
There you go. Well done.
30 years, phenomenal job. I don't know if he could stay around for 30 more with me. That's not even realistic, but that's okay. It'd be 90, you'll still be working. And then you got to worry about what pace he works at. I don't know how to handle this because we sit up here and everybody in this village, we're all one big family of people. When someone asks a question or they need something, or they have a disaster. Has anybody ever asked anybody, are you Republican, are you a Democrat, are you gay, are you straight, are you? We don't ask those questions because everybody here is equal. Everybody here deserves an equal amount of time, everybody, everybody. And we have always been that way. There's never a discussion, I mean, that it should be another way. I've had people come up to me and 7 times that I've run for election, twice in 7 runs, are you Republican or Democrat? I said, why? If you're a Democrat, I'm not voting for you. Then don't vote for me. I'm a Republican, but I don't want your vote. Well, that's not right. Well, how would you feel if you needed a variance because you had a child that needed a ramp put in? And I asked you, are you a Democrat or Republican? You say Democrat. Well, you can't get it. But if you're a Republican, I'd let you have that ramp. We can't do that. We don't do that. That's not what we are. Somebody said it earlier, there's 40,000 people here, plus a whole lot of people in that industrial park that we can't forget about. It was said tonight, well, could we do it for here, and maybe could we just do it for residents? We gotta remember, those 40,000, the 40,000 people are important, but the 20 million square feet of industrial space is very important, because just going through the stream sweep, I sign each letter that's put out by Bill Cleveland, by his department, and to thank each person, and some of them I actually put a little thank you note on, special thank you, to go out of their way. How many do we have this year?
275.
275. I signed those over the weekend and read. They were basically, it's the same letter, but read every name that was on there to see who it was. They were from like probably 45 different communities, but we were there. Some of us from engineering were at Public Works, and some of us were over at Antunes when they did theirs early. And we got to help them clean everything up and take pictures with them and everything. It's just the village coming together, and that's what, I call it Mayberry. I got in trouble for calling it Mayberry. But to me, it's like, this is just, I live here because of the people. I mean, and I've said that, and many of you have heard me say that. I live here because of the people. We don't have a big downtown. We don't have a diamond district. You can't even buy a television here. But the people are contagious in a good way. I mean, I look at the bags tournament. I look at the parade committee. I look at how everybody decorates for Halloween and for Christmas and the things that we do together as a family. And that's important. All that money that was raised in the bags tournament from you and your team, I say you and your team, I was just thank you let me hang around. I mean, I wasn't on your team, I'm just there to support.
Our team.
Your team, all your team. To raise that kind of money, the people that you've helped, and the things that you've done, that's what this town is about, and we could never forget that. It bothers me to hear what I just heard from Aldi's. I sit here, I'm on that side of town. My office is down on Schmale, just not far from there. I try to frequent the stores over there. I use Home Depot over there. I go to the Mexican restaurant over there. I go to the Red Apple over there. Thank you, Rick, for putting that together. I'm not so sure Saturday was a good idea, but, I mean, it seems kind of like during the week. I said to him when I got there, why would you have a fundraiser on a Saturday when you lose the whole business community? I mean, really, that's the way I see it, because I'm in the business community. That's why I think that way. Everybody in the industrial park that would go there and eat and spend money, I told my girls in my office, order whatever you just want and I'll pay the bill. But it's for the parade committee. And then I told them you can't do that because it's on Saturday and we don't work on Saturday. But I went there and bought gift certificates so they would be able to order, and they will. So I mean, those are the things that we do together as a team and as a group of people, is to try and make everybody's life better. And the parade is it's probably one of the most exciting things that we do, in my opinion. I mean, the sidewalks and curbs are lined from one end to the other. That's what this community is about. And it bothers me to think that we have people that are actually, the way she wrote the letter, I mean, we have a deputy chief. Is there a problem over there with people getting out of hand, or is it?
There's a couple individuals that just refuse to leave down there. He issued with the Aldi, we can't
use our ban letters in town, we ban people from private property, which Aldi is, or all the other businesses along there. But somebody, it's not our property, they have to sign a ban letter, then we can remove them for criminal trespass.
Well, it bothers me the way she wrote the letter to the fact that it was like they feel intimidated, they feel like their employees are being intimidated. That's my whole thing, the number one thing in this community is to everybody feel safe. Number one, feel safe. So we need to make them feel safe. So if we have to do something that we have to do, if we need to get the sheriff's department involved, or maybe a state's attorney involved, where we could look at what kind of, she made a comment, we take them, put them out, and they come right back again. This isn't Cook County, this is DuPage County. We don't let them back out that easy. At least not to my knowledge, we don't.
Mr. Mayor, if I can interject, I know there's an issue down there from the Village Tavern and Hatton, and there's certain individuals, like you said, there's a few, and I know we had pads involved, DuPage the pads, and they even tried to give them vouchers for an overnight hotel stay, which is just putting a Band-Aid on a wound, it's not fixing it, but they refused. They don't want to leave. They want to be down there, and it's a problem that even social service is aware. So. Constitutionally, they can do it. Correct. Somebody that owns that property will step forward and have us deal with it. Some of the businesses down there do. They're banned from a lot of properties along now, but Aldi, the store manager wants us to arrest them. Corporate does not. So once we get a plan in place, and we have a very good planner, that's why we don't have issues with homeless people very much, bothering people on this, because they can also be served them with a legal notice if they're not allowed on the property any longer, and then we get arrested. And it takes time. It takes time as arrests pile up, but they do spend time in county jail, you know, our state's attorney does a very good job of dealing with these issues, but it takes the property owner to actually move that process forward. If they don't, there's nothing we can do about it, we can't take them off. That's true.
I think the part that bothers me is that I frequent that side of town. I know you're not gonna like this, Julia, but I actually go to that Jewel even once in a while, it's right by my office. And it's so convenient to go across North Avenue when I'm there. I mean, so I shop in that area a lot. I use Home Depot a lot. I mean, I'm in and out of those restaurants in that whole area. I mean, no one's ever said to me, you know, there's a problem here with people that are intimidating my employees. I mean, they know they could talk to me, know who I am. Most of the time, I wear one of my Carol Stream shirts, so everybody knows who I am. I'm not trying to hide from anybody. It just bothers me that, you know, and you're sitting here, you knew that. You know, I mean, see, I didn't know it.
And I'm working with social service, so I work with pads, I try to, you know, we want to treat them humanely, you know, we don't want to, you know, put a fire hose over them, and, I mean, we want to humanely, but it doesn't appear that they want the help, and that's the tug of war we're at. And I know the village did.
There's consequences for being bad, that's all I'm saying, okay? It's like, I get it. And I know sometimes maybe it's.
Some businesses, like the chief said, some businesses, they can't, you know, sign a complaint, because that looks bad on their business. Some businesses, they will sign a complaint, but then they go to court, and it's just time consuming, very time consuming. And then to staff the restaurant when one of the managers is in court, that's the problem.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I don't know. To me, it bothers me that, I'm sure our police department will be looking at that and any support that we.
They're not hurting anybody, they're just out there panhandling, you know, yeah, sure, it's intimidating people. I don't like it either when people walk up to me begging for money when I just wanna go buy some groceries, you know, but they haven't done anything violent, they haven't, and again, it's part of their own business. They have to step up and ban these people from the property if there's nothing we can do about it. Illinois changed the laws not that long ago, you can ban them, that's why they're all up and down North Avenue. Now, we never used to have that issue, they weren't allowed to do it on state highways, so we go arrest them and
but it'll never fix the problem then.
More than happy to do that, and the store manager would like us to do that. It's corporate that doesn't want us to do that, so that people will stop going to the Aldi store and they'll go to another one, where they will be,
Where they'll feel safe.
or somewhere else, right?
It's unfortunate, it's the world we live in today where everybody distrusts everybody else and the things that are going on and happening, so.
We are gonna respond to that and tell them, there's literally nothing we can do if they're not going to sign a complaint.
It's been forwarded to the chief.
Okay, other than that, we already covered the concerts, we covered everything. I'm with everybody, so. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Frizzlone. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesers.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzlone.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.